Off the Ivy, a Chicago Cubs podcast with Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola, and Cody Del Mendo on 312 Sports.
It is Off the Ivy on 312 Sports. We're brought to you by Chicago Window Guys. Russ Armstrong is the owner, so call him at 847-302-9171. Check out his 5-star reviews at chicagowindowguys.com. A needed breather for the Chicago Cubs, as now at least Craig Counsell's got a chance to set the deck of his pitching staff, looking at the giant pile of outs. And it is now the light-hitting Baltimore Orioles that appear to be standing in their way. So what do we make of this marking point in our season?
Well, I can say that today I feel a lot better after losing the series to the Cardinals.
Why?
I don't know, just not having to watch them last night. I think that's really it. You know, last night I don't. Anyone listening, I don't know if you've heard of Swish House. I went and played some basketball last night at Swish House down in the West Loop, and then
what is Swish House?
it's just like a
gym,
yeah,
basketball gym.
Yeah,
I understood it. Is it 5-on-5 runs?
Yeah, or they do like fitness class. This is like another way for me to work out other than just going to a gym.
There you go.
And,
all right.
So just clear my head, just get my mind off how the Cubs really pissed me off last weekend. And the only reason that they really pissed me off is because I just didn't feel like they played well comparatively to the the last 5 series going into that one. And so now I guess going into this Orioles series, whether it's the offense, whether it's pitching, I think I just want to feel something better than what I saw last weekend, because I just felt like the Cardinals, in all facets of the game, played better than them over the weekend. And the Orioles are not good. And to me, you should go on the road and beat them.
Yeah, you should. But we just don't know what's gonna show up for the Cubs. I mean, you get Matthew Boyd tonight, Colin Ray tomorrow, and then David Peterson starts the game on Thursday. So you have your pitching all set up, and it doesn't sound very promising. We don't know what we're going to get from Boyd still. I mean, this is his third start from coming back. Colin Ray had a really good outing, his last outing in Milwaukee, and got let down by the bullpen. And David Peterson got blown up by the Cardinals last Friday. So don't know what to expect with it. With the Shane Baz on the mound for, is it Baz, B-A-Z, Baz?
I believe it's pronounced Baz.
Right?
I think that's right.
He's a righty, 4.19 ERA. He lost his last outing to the White Sox, but he went 7 innings, gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. So a solid outing against one of the better offenses in the American League. He gets really good extension off the mound. He has a fastball velo of 74%. So he's in the higher range of Major League Baseball. But everything else, he's below average. So this is an opportunity. But I've said that how many times on Off the Ivy, looking at the Cubs' opponent, saying, all right, this is an opportunity for the Cubs offense to either get healthy or to continue eating or to really show something here. But you just don't know from game to game what's going to happen with it. Now, can PCA stay hot? Can Saya stay hot? Can Bregman and Happ rebound a little bit from where they've been the last week? That's going to be vital to them scoring runs, particularly if Bregman's going to keep batting, 2. He needs to produce and at least get on base.
Well, I think this is one of these series, too, where you got to just be smart about the hitters you want to face and how you want to face them. Because it really looks like if you avoid Alonso and Gunnar Henderson, there aren't a lot of guys that are going to beat you. Adley Rutschman, I don't know what's happened to him, but he's not what he was. He's only got a weighted on base of 334, WRC plus a 115. There's nobody in this lineup who terrifies you, but that Alonso with 19 homers, Henderson with 16 homers, if you can get through their big guys a couple times, just score a few. Score 4 or 5 runs. I like your chances if you get out there and are able to at least a couple times through the order get through their middle.
Yeah, and we always talk about with the Cubs starters, just limit the home runs. And if you allow the home runs, which they have a lot this year, just make sure you're giving up solo shots. Don't get into a couple hits, then a home run, or a walk and a home run. You're going to have an opportunity to hit the ball hard against Shane Baz. He gets hit hard. He has all year. His cutter, but he only throws it a little less than 20% of the time, about 18%. That ball has been hit really hard against him. So if you have an opportunity to see that, take advantage of it. But overall, he has been hit really hard this year. The Cubs need to see some action on it and really produce some runs by getting on base.
Yeah, against lefties, fly ball percentage against him is around 45%. Against righties, the ground ball rate's 45%.
Yeah.
So the fly ball rate against him against righties is significantly worse than against lefties, and obviously the Cubs stacked the lineup with a lot of lefties. So we talked about Ian Happ yesterday. Obviously, PCA is the best player in baseball, not named Shohei Ohtani. Michael Busch, who's kind of slumped a little bit, but it's not Ian Happ bad.
Right.
I think what I'm missing from Michael Busch is just more slug. His OPS is still below 800. We're well past the really bad April. And I think he's been solid. He's gotten big hits for you. He's overall been mostly what I've expected. But I think right now he's in a little bit of a downturn. So this is a series, to me, it's a get-right series, not just as a team, but as for guys like Ian Happ and Michael Busch, because this pitching staff for the Orioles is not good. Now, Baz had a lot of success with the Rays. They traded him. The Rays are like the Brewers, where you're kind of cursed if you do that. And I don't know exactly what happened to him. It's not like he's the worst pitcher in the league, but he certainly hasn't been the guy the Orioles traded for. And so, with that said, again, the Cubs are going to stack this lineup with lefties tonight with that fly ball percentage against him. I would guess that Counsell's going to do that. And so, guys like Michael Conforto and, anyone else that I'm missing, I think I got them all. But, it's to me, it's a get right series for this offense because they just didn't hit well against the Cardinals.
Can I mention one thing about Michael Busch too? That based on Fangraph's defensive runs above average, he's the best fielding first baseman in the game.
Yeah, and I've mentioned that on the broadcast a few times.
We can debate the importance of that. We can debate this. It's like if you have the best fielding first baseman or left fielder, it sure doesn't hurt. And this is a city that sure loved when Anthony Rizzo would make some of these spectacular picks. Michael Busch and he looks like what a middle infielder playing first base should look like. He is leading all major league first basemen in StatCast outs above average, and also in defensive runs above average. So that's pretty spectacular. If you start looking at all these other names in there, and sure, they're all big sticks, but that's not nothing.
Yeah, no, it is important. And you look at some of the other teams around the league who have first basemen who are just offensive oriented, and not that defense at first base isn't as important. It's not a premium position, but I do remember before Michael Busch, the Cubs had a lot of problems after they moved on from Anthony Rizzo at first base, whether it was Frank Schwindel.
I was just going to say, you don't like Frank Schwindel?
I loved the first 2 months after the trade deadline, Frank Schwindel, what a run that was. Patrick Wisdom played over there a little bit. They spent, they traded Rizzo in 2021 at the deadline, and then they didn't get Busch until 2024. So you had 3 seasons of just interchanging guys. I mean, Trey Mancini, Eric Hosmer, both guys at the back end of their careers. And defense was a big problem with all of them that they put over there. And, yeah, Dan, it's a good point that you bring up Rizzo because the amount of picks that he made, and I think Derek...
Yeah, but Busch is a better fielder than Rizzo.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because I would agree. I think he has been a better defender than Rizzo as well. But even Derek Lee was a good defensive first baseman in my opinion. So it's just something that this organization has been good at finding a way to figure out, and it's not something that I take lightly because of what we had in between Busch and Rizzo. So I just would like to see a little bit more slug out of the bat. I mean, this guy hit over 30 homers last year. He's got, I don't even know if he has double digits. I think he's still sitting at 9.
That sounds right. Without even looking it up, I think he's not at 10.
So it just, I think that Wrigley has, the wind's blown out a lot lately, but I think I can think of 2 or 3 different ones that he's hit to the warning track that were pushed down because of the wind or something like that within the last month.
Yeah, it just seems like the Wrigley has hurt Busch and Happ more than other players, where it hasn't really impacted PCA. We look at his numbers yesterday at Wrigley. I think his OPS is over 1,200 for home games this year. And just kind of wrap up on Shane Baz, too, Cody, as you mentioned, he's not a great pitcher, but he certainly isn't terrible. In his month of June, 36 innings, he gave up 15 earned runs, an ERA under 3.7. And he faced the White Sox, Angels, Seattle, San Diego, Toronto, Boston. He went 7 innings 3 times. So, I mean, he has the ability to go deep into the games. They're going to do that if he's out there throwing. So, as you mentioned earlier, Dan, like, take advantage of it early, get some runs on the board, force him out, get to that bullpen, and you get to the bullpen in game 1 of a 3-game series. That's always the benefit to your team, obviously offensively.
Yeah. No, it's to me, if they're going to win this series, winning this game is the most important because I think of the 3 pitchers the Cubs will have to face for Baltimore, I think Baz is the best one.
Yep.
Did you guys happen to see the trivia question that arose from one of the outcomes last night in MLB?
No, I know you asked, and I bet the Phillies last night, and I went 0 for 5 last night. My 2 soccer picks, my 3 baseball picks. So it was bad. I had the Phillies beating the Royals, and the Royals, 17-1, 16-1? Kicked the shit out of the Phillies?
It was 15-1.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 15-1. Now, here's the question. There are 2,430 baseball games every year. There have been over 200,000 Major League games since the start of the American League in 1901. Okay, you got that.
Yep.
200,000. How many times has a team scored in every inning in which they batted?
Oh, and the Royals did that last night?
The Royals did it last night.
So
the Royals scored in every inning in which they batted.
So they were in KC, right? So they went 8 in, so they batted 8 times.
They scored 6 in the first, 1 run each in the second through 6th, 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, since they were the home team, and they didn't get a chance to score in the 9th.
So American League team every inning.
No, anywhere in baseball.
Oh, anywhere in baseball.
Anywhere in baseball. 200,000 games. How many times has a team scored in every inning in which they've batted?
Wow.
I want you to do like I want to know if you are even close to this estimate.
I'll go 4,000 games.
I always think extremes because it's a trivia question, so I don't know, less than 10.
Before yesterday, it had only happened 20 times.
20.
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Yesterday was 21.
Wow.
The first team to do it since the White Sox in late 2016. Because, of course. Now, for context, more pitchers have tossed perfect games than teams have scored in every inning of a game. It is rarer than a perfect game.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because even when the Cubs, they beat San Diego 23-3, like they didn't score in every inning.
Right? Yeah, I think it was like 2 innings that they didn't score.
The 2 innings they didn't score. And I remember looking at the box score going, that's really, man, to score 23 and they have a couple innings you don't score, that's crazy.
Yeah. I still went to the thousands just because there's so many games.
There's out of 200,000.
Yeah.
Over 200,000.
See, that's why I always, if there's trivia questions that are brought up, there's always extreme. If it was either 198,000 or it's 10. So 20 was the answer. 21.
Yes, correct. And thanks to Cup of Coffee and Craig Calcaterra for having that information.
That's
right
insane.
There. He said if I wanted to take some quick money from people in a bar, I'd do a betting pool in which I had everyone guess how many times that's happened.
Yeah,
he certainly would have taken this jamoke's money.
Yeah, he definitely would have taken.
You're buying the rest of the night.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
buying everyone. I got a round on everyone.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I would have gotten me too. I just happened to read it, so I sound smart.
Well, what did you guess?
I didn't actually because I just read it and thought, I hope my partners didn't happen to see this because I'm going to spring it on them.
I did not see it. I looked at the box score and that was all I saw. So
I love that you mentioned the perfect game thing though, because what was it, over the weekend the Marlins pulled their Yuri Perez. He had a perfect game and he pulled him after the 7th.
Yeah, I saw a guy Wayne Randazzo was unhappy.
Yeah, the crowd was chanting shame or something like that.
Well, didn't they blow it like the next 2 batters?
I don't even know. I didn't read too much into it. I just saw that he had a perfect game going and manager pulled him.
I'll double check it, but I'm pretty sure Henry, my son told me that within the next two batters, they gave it up and then blew it, like lost the game in the next two batters. So maybe that's not accurate.
That sounds like karma to me.
Yeah, who knows? I saw on ESPN they have their midseason grades out. Any guesses about what they gave the Cubs as a grade?
B-.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, I'd say B.
Yeah, they gave the Cubs a B. And the context of their argument was just saying that, hey, it's really clear, evident where Jed Hoyer needs to go after.
And the answer is the Chicago Bears pass rush.
Right. Yes. That Ryan Poles didn't address the defensive line. Therefore, the Bears get a B.
The Cubs get a B, and it's Jed Hoyer's job to somehow add to the Bears' front seven because it wasn't addressed.
So I just wanted to ask you guys, what would you give the Cubs defense this year?
An A+.
Yeah. So giving it a solid A. What would you give the offense? Both you guys, what would you give their offense?
Which offense?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at it big picture. How would you grade it?
I'd this B+. I can go B+. When I consider the rest of the league.
Okay.
I see. This is really hard.
I know.
I'd have to go A.
Okay, so it's funny because I
would have to.
My first thought
they've
went
got a
A.
team WRC plus of 109. They have the second best run production in baseball.
Right.
That's an A.
My first thought was A, and then I thought, all right, can I give them an inconsistent because that's what they've been all year.
But you got to grade them on the total numbers.
Yeah, I know
it's all or nothing.
So I give a B-. Did you say B?
I said
or
B+.
B+. Okay, I said B- just because the bad has been so bad, and this team shouldn't be as bad as they've been for the times they have been. How would you grade the pitching?
C-. I could go D+, but I also think that they've had guys overperform too to keep them afloat.
Yeah,
I think that there is an adjustment factor.
And injuries are
that's what I'm saying. You're asking AAA guys. They've gotten I want to say a representative season because they only they're near the bottom in pitching WAR.
Yeah,
right.
But just the fact that they've been competitive enough with guys who are career minor leaguers and never will be's. I don't know if maybe Ryan Rollison is somebody who played his way into or is in the process of playing his way into a longer term job.
Well, he's definitely in the circle of trust
at the moment.
Yes.
At the moment, but I don't know if anybody's going to throw a contract at him. I don't know. It's just if we're grading on a curve, I would say a B+, but just overall, say whoever it is, I'd say a C to a D.
So I copped out with pitching and gave it an incomplete just because it's just the injuries have been devastating and your rotation isn't anything close to what you thought it was going to be. So let me ask you this. From a pitching perspective, what grade would you give Craig Counsell?
Oh, an A.
Yeah, solid A for me.
Yeah.
Solid A for what he's done. Yeah, because you've mentioned this at least once every Off the Ivy, that it's a AAA staff that they're working with.
And the numbers show it. But if you look at the bottom, you see the outlier here. If we just go by pitching WAR down in this bottom 10, and you start looking at the records of the teams, and it's glaring to see a team 10 games over 500 that's 28th out of 30 in pitching WAR.
Right. Which brings you back to the offense, and it's how do you not give them an A, like you said, right?
Yeah, it's the defense too.
Yeah,
a ball in play is an out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could probably look up every Cubs pitcher that's pitched at least 50 innings. Go look at their earn run average and their FIP, and there'd be some form of
discrepancy for sure. Yes.
And the reason that I don't get too upset about that is the defense is that good.
Yeah, not only talking about...
You know what, though? As a team, and xFIP is really the one, it's almost identical. Really? As a team, their ERA is at 4.36, and the xFIP is at 4.29. You know why? A home run is not a ball in play.
Right.
That's what skews everything.
Yeah,
for sure.
They lead baseball in home runs.
Yes,
allowed.
that's what I'm saying. You can't play defense on a home run. Right. The one thing that they can't allow their defense... So the pitchers happen to be allowing runs to be scored in a way where the defense can't help them.
Yeah, can't do anything for it. And you talk about a ball in play, which is pretty much an out. think about the balls in play that aren't outs, but what the infield stops. Now, maybe they can't make a play on it, but how many times have you seen a ball that would be in the gap somewhere that Nico or Dansby get to and stop and limit what potentially could happen on a play? Because it seems like they do it at least once a game.
Well, look at pitching BABIP. If you actually look, the batting average on balls in play, the Cubs are fourth, or tied for third, I should say.
Okay.
At 272. Philadelphia, they give up a 322 BABIP.
Wow.
That's awful.
You have the whole list in front of you?
I do.
Just give me the Nationals since you have it there.
The Washington Nationals are 293. That's tied with the Padres 23rd, 24th. Your worst two, Colorado at 320 and Philadelphia at 322.
I expected the Nationals to be over 300. I'm surprised that they're under 300. I think they lead Major League Baseball in errors, and it's like maybe a 20 error gap between them and the next and the 29th team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're just bad.
And the problem is the Cubs are 20th in ground ball percentage. And, oh, my God, home runs per fly ball. Yikes.
Don't even tell me.
Yikes.
What is it?
Let me just tell you this. The best ratio, Seattle, that they only allow home runs on 9.1% of fly balls. The Cubs are dead last by a full percentage point.
So Seattle's the best at 9?
Yeah. Where do you think the Cubs are?
Maybe I'm going to be way off. I don't know. Maybe 15%.
You said by over.
Number 29 is the Athletics, and they're at 13.9%.
Okay.
The Cubs are 30th at 14.8%.
I was right.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
You're 15%. So think about that.
Yeah.
15 out of every 100 fly balls of any kind are home runs against the Cubs.
Is that good?
Not if you have a good defense.
Hey, think about the fly balls that have stayed in on days the wind's blowing in at home.
Oh yeah,
you know,
God, that's a brutal.
Can they put an outfielder in the bleachers? Would that be allowed?
Let's put a shirtless Harry Carey out there. I mean, so I was watching the soccer game. Did you see that the Belgium has a guy named Van Aken? I was laughing the whole Pete Van Aken, my buddy down in Peoria. Pete Van Aken. He was playing for Belgium last night, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I was watching, but I can't really say I was paying attention.
I laughed every time they showed Van Aken. I was yelling, Pete Van Aken.
I laughed at that goal for sure, but we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
So largely, the Cubs pitching staff gives up way too many homers, and even if it was like split in half, they probably would be closer to the Brewers.
Yeah, probably. And remember what we talked about a few weeks ago, that Tyone and Shota were on pace to break the record, which they're not going to now because of Jameson missing time, which is unfortunate because I wanted them to break that record.
Does he practice giving up home runs in his rehab?
Maybe that's what they do. Maybe they should stop that.
In the simulated games, does he simulate like looking up?
Like when they're in the pitch lab, are they like, all right, throw me your home run ball? Yeah. Like, stop throwing that.
Oh,
stop throwing the home run ball. Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah,
that's not
curveball
good.
That doesn't curve, the sinker that doesn't sink.
Yeah, I was looking at AAA Iowa because I wanted to see where Moises, what his numbers have been since he was dropped down. He had no home runs in June, and his line in June was 263, 300, 333. For the start of July, and it's only the 7th, so we're still early on. He's hitting 118 with an on base of 158.
That's concerning.
Yeah, it is concerning.
How many plate appearances?
I'll pull it up. I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it seems like a decent amount.
Oh no, as far as like the whole time. Oh yeah, no, he's playing regularly, batting regularly.
Yeah. 158 on base percentage.
That's in the month of July. We're very early.
We're not even a weekend.
Okay, but all right. That's
now his on base in June was 300.
That's not real good either.
No, slugging 333.
I'm curious. Well, I haven't seen any highlights because I haven't watched any games.
He's had no home runs.
Right. I would like to see if they have him making any adjustments. You know, I've mentioned that leg kick he has. It's a really big one. And when he first started struggling, he couldn't catch up to that high fastball. And I felt like the leg kick had something to do with that. So I'm curious if they're trying to change some things, and it's
a good thought. It's also a reminder not to get too silly about some of these stats down there if he's working on something. If they might be reconstructing a swing.
Yeah,
we don't know. We should ask.
That's my optimistic hope.
Yeah, hopefully. So, I mean, since he went down to Iowa, June 20th was his first game. He's had like 4 at-bats, 4, 4, 4, 5, 3, 4, 2. Yeah, so he's playing regularly. Yeah. But I don't believe... Maybe I'm wrong. I don't believe he's caught at all, and I thought that's what he was going to get some more work as a catcher, and they just have him listed as a DH, and I don't think he's catching at all.
That's interesting. That's more interesting to me than his bad numbers.
See if he has been.
Because that's like you'd think that they would want him to get more work doing that. So I'm disappointed to hear this. Obviously, you guys know that I'm very, very high on him. Mm-hmm. Doesn't help his trade value. I still think that there is some value there because you don't see what he did in March, April, and think that there's that's not a guy that's gonna do something one day. But obviously, he's like 21 or 22 years old. He's still got a lot of development to do. But yeah, it's I would. Before I really have a take on this, it's more of like I need to go just watch some Iowa Cubs highlights or games because I know Marquee puts them on a lot, and just see if there's any difference in his stance or anything as far as the hitting.
Yeah, hopefully that's an indication of why these numbers are as low as they are, because they are working through something. So
the hot weather is coming back in the next few days. So when you hear that air conditioning kick on and you're like, oh, geez, why can't our house hold this cold air inside longer? Well, because your windows suck and you need new, better windows. The technology with windows has gotten to the point where if you're still dealing with stuff from 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, you're probably just throwing money away. So call Russ Armstrong in Chicago Window Guys, and he can talk to you about all the options that he has for absolute state-of-the-art, custom-made, double-paned, low-emissivity windows for your home. I know I have done this. I did it in 2 different tranches, and boy, the difference that it's made is certainly noticeable. So call Russ, and don't worry about all the other bombardment of advertisement that you hear about buy one, get one free, buy 2, get 1. These are gimmicks. These are teasers. It's no different than stuff your grocery store does, and windows are way more important than that to fall for some of these gimmicks. Call Russ. He owns the factory that custom makes the windows for you right here in Chicago. He's in charge of the pricing. He doesn't have to go to somebody else. You don't have to go through 3 different email chains or 5 different text chains. He's just going to come to your house. He's going to look around. He's going to find out what you want, and then he's going to give you a number. And if you are getting quotes, you can ask those other sales reps who's installing your windows. They won't know because they use subcontracted labor. Ask Russ. He'll be able to tell you by name the people installing your windows are the same people that installed mine. So call Russ when you can. Get an appointment. He's going to come right out, and you can get this started, and you can have complete peace of mind knowing that you got the right windows in your house that are starting to save you money, especially even when it gets cold, and then you're heating the inside instead of the outside. 847-302-9171. Check out his 5-star reviews at ChicagoWindowGuys.com.
All right, so 6 games left before the All-Star break, 3 at Baltimore, 3 at Cincinnati. So we'll see where the Cubs lie going into the second half after, next Sunday's game. We'll come back Monday, look forward to All-Star Week festivities and kind of see where the Cubs lie and what Jed's going to do.
Yeah. Since the Brewers series, they swept the Padres and then lost the series to the Cardinals, so they're 4-2. Since that Brewer series. I think on that Monday show, I said, Monday show last week, I said that I would like an 8-4 run to close, post Brewer series to close out the first half. They had 12 games, so you got a really good opportunity here because the Orioles have underachieved, or maybe they're just bad. I don't know. I don't watch them enough. And then you got a Reds team that I think has just been a really big disappointment. Somehow still kind of hanging around in the most competitive division in baseball. But yeah, I mean, you got to. For me, I would like to win at least 4 more games here. Kind of disappointed just because they did sweep the Padres, and maybe we could have got a little bit of a better run here. But we'll see how they do. And, I was looking at Fangraphs going into yesterday or going into today, 71% chance to make the postseason playoff odds. So it's a lot better than I think maybe a month ago we were talking about how it had fallen so far down even below 50%. So
yeah, they were last time we looked at it as a group, they were the biggest drop in all of teams in all of baseball, which makes sense with the significant losses they've had. But yeah, if you're looking at it now at 4-2 with the 6 games to go, you've got to take 2 out of 3. Like you have to win these next 2 series. The Cardinals series, while it was disappointing, that Friday game happens. You have those stupid games. They happen. They were on the other end of it the game before. I was more disappointed that they didn't score at all on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Saturday game was more frustrating.
That was more frustrating than
sure.
The Friday game was like you just turn that off and walk away.
Yeah.
Unless you were there, you couldn't. You just had to walk away.
Right.
But yeah, the Saturday game was more frustrating, losing 3-0.
Yeah. So there was I was reading an article from Bleacher Nation, my guy Michael Cerami, and he points out that the Cubs have a 71% chance to make the playoffs, and in this article he lists potential trade targets for the Cubs before the deadline and this and that, and he also points out that Ken Rosenthal said on Foul Territory recently that, and this is end quote, he said, "We know what they're going to be looking for at the deadline. It's obvious. If the Cubs feel they can win the division, possibly get a bye, then okay, maybe they go hard at the deadline. If they don't, if they're essentially playing for a wild card, then they will be more restrained in their approach. They clearly need bullpen help. And also, of course, they're going to need help in their rotation." And so I bring that quote up because I mentioned the prospects of Josiah Hartshorn and Ethan Conrad yesterday. And, I think over the last month, I've found myself going back and forth on what I would like, how aggressive I would like the Cubs to be at the deadline. And Cerami points out in this article that he wrote that, the Cubs have they have guys off the books after the season, like Shodi Imanaga, Matthew Boyd, Jameson Tyone, David Peterson, and then Cade Horton, who is under control, but he probably is going to miss most of next season because of the injury. So you got a lot of guys to replace. And so, and when I think about that, it kind of brings me back to like maybe they should, no matter what, just be aggressive for an arm that has multiple years of control, no matter what. And so I think of guys like Joe Ryan or Logan Webb, Reed Detmers for the Angels.
I just don't think any of these guys move the needle. I really don't.
Well, they don't, but they're major league pitchers.
I know.
Yeah. That's the difference. And then in comparison to what you're putting out there, pretty much every day,
well,
they're head and shoulders better.
It just sounds like this is setting up for a classic case of, and it not being wrong, for Jed Hoyer to say our deadline additions are our own players. It's almost like, remember when they used to do this thing at your local bank where they would call it your Christmas bonus, and the bank would save some of your money, like you deposit your paycheck and the bank would peel away a few, and then on Christmas be like, oh yeah, here's the money that we didn't put in your account, and it was like getting a gift.
Yeah,
I forgot about that money. I adapted without it, and here it is, when you should have been putting it in a 401k. But that's like what is going on here, where you can say, okay, Tyone and Edward Cabrera, and you're not giving up anything to get them.
But is that really a gift?
I compare it to some of the for no cost. Again, I'm the guy that shops on for expiring meat. So this is kind of the baseball equivalent of expiring meat.
Well, I guess then let me ask you guys this. How aggressive would you want Jed to be if it is to secure a wild card spot? How far out of first place by the end of July is reasonable to say we still have a shot at this? I mean, there's 6 games out now. You have a month of baseball to go. Well, a little over 3 weeks, 2 weeks. What's reasonable to say we have a shot August 1st for the division? What do the Cubs need to be within the Brewers?
3.5.
Okay, so 3.5 makes you more aggressive. Let's say that they'd end up right now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, they're in the exact same spot. They're 6 games out, and they're the number 1 wild card team. Less aggressive or still aggressive?
if we're just thinking about this year, I'm saying less aggressive. But like I said, I brought up those names because they have so many guys they have to replace after the season. I listed 4 guys that are off the books, and they're going to need arms.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have Cade Horton back. You can't go into next season thinking that Cade Horton's going to be part of that rotation, right? You'll have Justin Steele back, but that's also an injury risk still. You don't
a guy over 30, too.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And
so like, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe the price for some of these guys is too high and they don't do it, and maybe they spend in free agency. I don't have the list of guys who are going to be available. Maybe they bring back a David Peterson if he figures out how to get more ground balls. Whatever the case may be, I think the thought process for Jed Hoyer going into it, no matter what, should be to get a controllable arm not just because of the stretch run this year, but also 2027 or whatever, if there's a lockout or not. You know what I mean? I think that is important to still try and do it. Now, again, I think Josiah Hartshorn is untouchable for me. In any scenario, he is untouchable for me. And maybe I can budge on Ethan Conrad. But I just think that when you think about all the arms that are off the books after the season, going after a controllable arm isn't necessarily like a bad idea no matter where the Cubs are in the standings.
what do you think?
I as always, what price? What exactly are they giving up to do some of these things to try to shore up what clearly is an imperfect team?
And how much does next year's work stoppage impact
it probably
Jed's decisions?
It shouldn't, but it probably does. The presumption that there isn't going to be at least a start of a baseball season next year. And it's been interesting. That's probably a topic for another time, maybe for next week.
Yeah,
about how some of these
week.
public proposals are getting exchanged and what we know and how public some of this stuff has been. So there is some news, I think, that's developing there that we'll get to. But I would, just a lot like what I said about the White Sox, that for different reasons, I don't know that I'd throw good money after a team in a star-crossed year. It may just be, this just ain't their year. And we can ride this out and have a blast seeing how far they get. And once you get in the tournament, anything can happen and all that stuff. But at no point right now am I looking at the Cubs and saying this is a champion.
Right.
I'm just not.
But I think you can also look at it on the other side of the spectrum of, like, you're getting an MVP level season out of Pete Crow Armstrong, and you want to try and maximize that.
You might get a lot more of those. This might be nothing.
That's true. That's absolutely true. But
there better be more of these.
I used to think that about Chris Bryant, and we saw what happened.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And even to some extent, Mike Trout later on in his career, they haven't won anything with him.
Right. And I always think about the quote from Theo Epstein, every season is sacred. And you think about last season at the deadline. I think in hindsight, I was fine with what they did because the market was ridiculous, and I don't miss not having Mackenzie Gore, and I sure as heck wasn't sending. The rumored asking price for Mackenzie Gore was like Cade Horton and Matt Shaw.
Matt Shaw, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I don't remember. I think Edward Cabrera was probably still like what it ended up basically being of Owen Casey or whatever, and maybe making that move earlier would have been smarter considering the season he had last year. Maybe that's the one you can go back on. We all know that Cabrera this year has been disappointing. Injuries have been a part of his story again, right?
Yeah, and I should mention, I never mind you trading Matt Shaw. That's fine with me. I just think he's a penis whack. So if you want to do that, that's cool with me. I don't like rooting for him.
Right. Well, again, the Nationals wanted Cade Horton and
Matt Shaw.
Matt Shaw. And like that's just a no for me, man. So,
yeah, for sure.
This is why Jed Hoyer makes millions of dollars, and I sit here and talk with you guys. Like, it's a very, like, he's going to have to thread the needle here. I think no matter what, he's got to find a way to at least consider moving something for a controllable arm if we're thinking about this year and next year. But I'm also fine if they go get like a Sonny Gray, like Boston. You don't like Matt Shaw, Dan? Boston, he's from that area. They were rumored in the trade rumors for Matt Shaw last year. I personally, if I'm sending Matt Shaw to Boston, I want a Peyton Tolley or a Connolly early. Is
Peyton Tolley the guy with the stash?
I believe so.
I love that dude.
Yeah. Like, the Red Sox are probably not going to move those guys, but I'm not moving 5 years of control of Matt Shaw for a rental. You know what I mean? So teams know this, and teams know that the Cubs are going to be desperate for pitching, and so it depends on what guys teams like that the Cubs have, and if what Jed can do to kind of make some kind of savvy trade. But it's just, I don't want to say this deadline's going to define the Jed Hoyer era, but it is. It just feels like it's deja vu all over again back at last year's trade deadline. And I just expect this market to be really expensive. So it's, as much as I sit here and I'm saying maybe we should just do this and have things planned for the rest of this year and next year, I'm also I'm not moving Josiah Hartshorn.
Well, I feel the same way you do, and I think I'm maybe as a defense mechanism, I'm just holding myself to this thought process of it's going to be underwhelming, whatever it is, and maybe I'm just going that direction, and then he can surprise me. But I'm going to take the approach that the trade deadline maneuvers by the Cubs and Jed Hoyer will be underwhelming to Cubs fans.
I think you can bet on that.
The Cubs are back in action tonight, so we have something to watch. It's a 5:35 start. Matthew Boyd on the mound in Baltimore against Shane Baz, and hopefully they can get Game 1 victory here of this 3-game series in Baltimore.
That's Off the Ivy on 312 Sports, brought to you by Chicago Window Guys. Give Russ Armstrong a call, 847-302-9171. Check out his 5-star reviews at chicagowindowguys.com.
Off the Ivy, a Chicago Cubs podcast with Dan Bernstein, Matt Abaticola, and Cody Del Mendo on 312 Sports.